Who's the favorite going into that one?
That's a good question, actually.
Islam.
It's got to be Islam.
You think so?
I
Islam moving up to 170.
Yeah, I would
Close
imagine.
though, no?
The pound for pound number one?
I don't think it will be.
he'll
I don't think it will be close.
That is such a compelling match, and it is a pivotal match for the division. The only way you are going to get Islam and Ilya is if Jack wins.
Fight fans are buzzing, and experts are locking in their bold predictions for the Islam Makhachev versus Della Maddalena mega fight. Meanwhile, on the latest segment of Ariel Helwani's show, The Boys in the Back, Ariel Helwani sat down with co-hosts Connor Burks and Eric Jackman to analyze the upcoming matchup. After considering the factors involved, they agreed that Islam Makhachev enters the bout as the clear favorite.
Who's the favorite going into that one?
That's a good question, actually.
Islam.
It's got to be Islam.
You think so?
I
Islam
think
moving up to 170.
Yeah, I would
Close
imagine.
though, no?
The pound for pound number one?
I don't think it will be.
he'll
I don't think it will be close.
You don't think it will be close?
Minus 300 or something.
250, 300.
Let's see. I got it. Final guesses? Everybody go
I
final
said in the
guesses for me?
253 range.
I said 300.
I'm going.
Minus 300.
Really?
Minus 250. No.
Oh.
I'm tallying the votes.
Yeah. 175.
Minus 175. The number is minus 265 Islam Makhachev. Jack Della
Well done,
Maddalena
Rick.
plus
There we go.
225.
Yeah, that makes sense. He's the number one pound for pound. If
Also,
you-
just floating out there, Wiley Zhang minus 140 against Valentina Shevchenko.
Ooh. Minus 140.
favorite coming up too.
In addition, Ariel Helwani did acknowledge that fighters moving up in weight typically aren't favored, but this case felt different. Eric Jackman added that with Islam Makhachev currently sitting atop the pound-for-pound rankings, anything less than capturing a second belt would be a major blow to his legacy.
Historically, the person coming up isn't the favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in the Islam case, he is the number one pound for pound. If he were not able to be welterweight champion, that would be a significant hit to his case to being the number one pound for pound, right? The expectation is like, if you're the number one pound for pound, you should be able to move up and get that belt. So I think it makes a lot of sense to be the favorite.
JDM gonna have a case for fighter of the year if he wins that fight.
Oh, yeah.
Big time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Furthermore, Chael Sonnen weighed in on the stakes of the upcoming matchup, calling it a pivotal moment for the division. According to Sonnen, the only realistic path to an Islam Makhachev versus Ilya Topuria showdown is through a Della Maddalena victory. While a win for Jack doesn't guarantee that fight or necessarily make it more compelling, Sonnen stressed that it's the only scenario that even opens the door for Islam to return to 155 pounds.
That is such a compelling match, and it is a pivotal match for the division. The only way you are going to get Islam and Ilya is if Jack wins. Now, that doesn't guarantee you Islam Ilya, and it certainly doesn't help to make that fight more interesting. But it's the only way you would even have a chance of getting Islam to weigh 155 pounds again.
Building on that, Michael Bisping highlighted that Alexander Volkanovski, even though he is the naturally smaller fighter, was able to pose significant challenges for Islam Makhachev. With this in consideration, Bisping believes the dynamic will shift entirely when it comes to Della Maddalena.
But if you've ever been around him, he's not a very big man. He is the man, but he's a smaller man, okay?
Yeah.
And that first fight with Islam, the first one, he gave him everything he could handle.
Yeah.
Della Maddalena is not a small 170 pounder, you know.
No,
so I think,
and he brings all those same problems. Yeah, he brings all the same, the takedown defense, the ability to scramble, and I think even better striking than anybody that Islam has really faced recently. Poirier had some moments, landed some good shots, and Jack has that and more, and is a much bigger, stronger guy at 170 pounds.
Meanwhile, Israel Adesanya threw his support behind Della Maddalena. Having spent time training and sparring with Jack, Adesanya pointed to his impressive scrambling ability as a major factor that could tilt the fight in his favor.
I think Della is going to get it done. I feel from talking to Tim and also seeing Della, and also I've only sparred Della once, like not really hard crazy, but and I didn't try and take him down at all, but I've seen him at your gym sparring, and his scrambles are crazy.
Yeah, he's good
Even
with
watching him
scrambles.
with Bilal as well, and Gilbert Burns, his scrambles are crazy, and I feel.
Moreover, Adesanya emphasized that Islam will regret his decision to step into the ring with JDM because he predicts Islam won't be able to take him down.
Islam would feel like he bit off more than he could chew once he gets in there with him, because when he puts some things on him, he's like, oh, I'm not standing with this guy, I have to take him down. And then he tries, gets him down, and he gets back up, or he couldn't get him down, because he's a big dude. People don't realize how big Della is as well. He's solid. So I really
Dense,
think,
man, just dense.
dense, yeah. Like when I felt, like I said, we're sparring, and then it's just the weight behind it, and the way he throws it, the body banging, man, good.
Building on that point, Chael also noted that no one is discussing what happens if Jack pulls off the upset, simply because no one expects the #1 pound-for-pound fighter to lose. He warned that this mindset could become a problem if the UFC is aiming to sell out Madison Square Garden, as an unexpected loss could derail the promotional momentum surrounding Islam's dominance.
If Jack is to win, where does that take him and where does that spin him? Where does his career go? And the reason you can't answer that question, the reason you haven't heard any rumors of that, is nobody's expecting Jack to win. That's a problem for selling out the Garden, except you have a reality. And the reality is Jack is one hell of a hard fight. His style and his skill. If Jack weighed 170 and Islam weighed 155, Jack could beat him. If they both weigh 170, it'll make it harder on Jack. And I don't know, and I'm not ready to give you an analysis. I'm just saying, if they were the same and Jack just had that little small advantage, it would be enough. Like, Jack is right there with Islam, but that doesn't matter.
Adding to that, Chael stated that in order for the UFC to successfully sell this event, there needs to be real anticipation built ahead of time. He emphasized that no matter how great a fight might be on paper, it still requires proper build-up in advance to capture fan interest and drive ticket sales.
It has to be, the only way you can make money is with an anticipation. There has to be an anticipation. It has to be done ahead of time. It does not matter how great a fight is, or if it gets clipped off and it gets put on SportsCenter. It doesn't make any bit of difference. The buttons and the tickets have to be done prior. So I'm just asking you, is that a main event at Madison Square Garden? And I sure think so. Yeah, I sure think so. I admit that it must be joined with a supporting cast.
Continuing from a marketability standpoint, Chael explained that had Islam still been champion and this bout been promoted as a super fight, it would have reached an entirely different level of magnitude. However, he noted that the UFC chose a different route, prioritizing the integrity of the sport over marketing flash, and opted not to place promotional hype above the brand itself.
But yeah, I think that Jack versus Islam can definitely headline the Garden. And one thing about it, one thing where we wouldn't even be having this conversation is if Islam was still the world champion. Now, that would have been a scumbag move by the UFC, which would have been done purely for marketing reasons, but they had the right to pull that move. They chose to not put marketing in front of brand. Just so you understand. I mean, if this was champion versus champion, that would be the super fight. That would be an ultimate super fight. We've only been treated to 5 of those in history of champion versus champion. But that isn't the case. It's former champion versus champion, and it does change things from a marketability standpoint.
Meanwhile, Islam Makhachev's coach, Javier Mendez, weighed in on the threat Jack Della Maddalena poses, calling him a dangerous opponent for several reasons. Mendez pointed to Jack's long, unbeaten streak and his ability to mix things up with precision. He also praised Jack's takedown defense, calling it very solid and a key factor that makes this matchup particularly challenging for Islam.
I think what makes JDM so dangerous, number one, he's unbeaten for quite a while. Yep. He's had quite a long win streak, and the fact that this guy mixes it up extremely well. He goes the body to the head. He doesn't just stick head hunting. He mixes it all up. He goes body, punch, boom, and then all of a sudden a kick comes. And with him, his takedown defense is really, really good also. So we are not in a situation where we can think, oh, we're going to go to the ground and we're going to, no, we got to see what he's going to give us. And we have to we're going to have to make him give us something, because I don't know if he's going to. He's really that good.
Javier went on to say that Jack Della Maddalena is the toughest test Islam Makhachev has faced so far. While he remains confident that Islam will win, he made it clear that it won't be an easy night, expecting a hard and competitive fight from start to finish.
I'm going to have to 1,000,000% agree with Habib. I think this is our toughest test, and this is Habib and my biggest responsibility is to make sure we get Islam on tip-top shape and ready to do what we think and we believe he will do, and that's win. But it's not going to be easy. And if we make it look easy, it's because we were properly prepared and Jack just happened to give us what we needed. But this is by no means a walkover fight. No means. This is a really, really tough fight. And we have immense respect for Jack and their team and what they can do. And so we're prepared, mentally now. Physically, we'll got 2 months before we start camp. We'll go then. But right now, we're mentally prepared for what Jack brings, and he brings a lot.
Meanwhile, Islam's manager, Ali Abdelaziz, confidently predicts that Islam will exit the octagon with as the champion.
And the way the division look right now, Islam fighting Maddalena. And I truly believe Islam is going to beat him.
On the other hand, Craig Jones gave his assessment of the matchup, calling it a particularly difficult fight for Islam Makhachev. He pointed out that Jack Della Maddalena possesses the best scrambling ability in all of MMA, something that's extremely tough to prepare for. Jones highlighted Jack's unpredictable off-balances, grip breaks, and the overall challenge of replicating his movement in training.
I think it's a super difficult fight for Islam, this one. He's like, obviously he's faced Volk twice. We'll forget about the second one, but the first one, very competitive with the grappling. And now we're talking about he's facing a guy that's some of the best scrambling ability, I think, period, in all of MMA, and some of the most unorthodox grappling. And I think that's what Belal struggled with. Belal really just sticks to a blueprint. The blueprint obviously works very well, but in terms of creativity in what Belal does, I think it's pretty strict. Jack, as you saw in that fight, some of his off balances and grip breaks and some of the things he does, it's really hard to prepare for that.
On top of that, he noted that the size difference between the two will be a major factor come fight night.
So I think like Islam, the size difference is going to be quite a lot bigger than people think. And we've seen how Volk did on the ground and how much Islam struggled with him in the grappling exchanges. And having seen Jack and Volks work together, seeing the skill sets, like this is a perfect one. The UFC want guys that stand and bang. I'm trying to still help them out, even though potentially enemies.
So you feel confident about this one?
Yeah, very, very confident for this one.
You think Islam stays at 170 after this, or do you think he goes back down?
I mean, yeah, good question. I don't know what he's weighing. Like, I think he was posting that he was pretty light, so I'm not sure how he's going to deal with that size difference. I think, obviously, worst case scenario, he goes out ragdolls, potentially submits Jack. I think he's probably going to stay.
Furthermore, Alexander Volkanovski offered his take on how Jack Della Maddalena could fare in a high-stakes matchup, pointing to his performance against Belal Muhammad as a strong indicator. Volkanovski believes Jack's composure will be a key factor.
What I love about Jack Della and what he did with Belal is he will, you get people that are worried about the takedown, so like, and then they don't fight their fight on the feet. I'm gonna fight my fight and worry about the takedown when it's there.
Exactly.
And that's perfect. You need to be like that. For me, like with Islam, was like, I'm gonna do my thing. Yeah, I'll be worried about it, but at the same time, find the shots to go in, boom, boom, boom. But I'll worry about the takedown when they're there. But I'll still commit to things.
Once you realize you can handle it, then you were just like, I can handle it.
Moreover, Gilbert Burns pointed to the major advantage Jack Della Maddalena gains from having Alexander Volkanovski and Craig Jones involved in his camp. He believes that with the right strategy and support around him, Jack has all the tools to pull off the upset and walk away with the win.
Jack Della Maddalena doing a lot of training with Volk, with Craig Jones, those guys that kind of crack the Islam on that first Volk fight. I think they're going to have a lot of info, a lot of study, a lot of answers. It's closer than people think, this fight. I really like this fight. I don't have time right now. I didn't have time to dig deep a little too much in that fight, but I think it's way closer than people think. And JDM has a clear shot on beating Islam,
In addition, Chael acknowledged that it's a great matchup and likely a much closer fight than some expect. But he questioned why there seems to be doubt surrounding the man who actually holds the belt.
Jack is the champion. And doesn't that make it interesting? Jack is the one being questioned here. Jack is the underdog. Jack is the one being questioned can he in fact headline Madison Square Garden? We understand Islam, and Islam's over. He's the most famous Muslim athlete in the world. We understand that he's going for basically a history making, or at least a tie history, by being a 2-division champion. We don't question him. How in the hell are you going to question the guy with the belt? It's a great match. It's a lot closer match than you think it is.
However, Islam Dulatov dismissed the idea that Islam Makhachev will have an easy night against Jack Della Maddalena. While he still predicts Makhachev to come out on top, Dulatov expects a competitive and difficult fight, warning that Jack will make him earn every bit of success inside the cage.
I think a lot of people think that it's going to be an easy fight for Islam, but I don't think that it's going to be that easy. I think Islam going to win, but I don't think it's going to be an easy fight for him, like everybody thinks. Because Islam is maybe big for lightweight, but he's not big for welterweight.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's why I would say, like, I don't know, he don't look for me so big.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's just on pictures or whatever, but actually, you know, I think JDM has a lot more of weight than him. But at the end of the day, I think JDM has better striking, and Islam has for sure the better ground game.
In the end, Dulatov leaned toward Makhachev as the likely winner, but made it clear the fight will be anything but easy. He anticipates a tough, closely contested battle that will push Islam from the beginning to the end.
Islam.
Really, Islam? You're just saying how he wasn't big enough.
Yeah, but I say he will win this.
Oh, you really?
I say, I think he gonna win this for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know, like, I'm very sure that he's gonna win this.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be not an easy fight.
Not easy.
You know,
fight.
like because I see in the comments like a lot of people, oh, JDM, it's over for you. You know, like people make this guy like very small. You know, and actually, bro, that's a reason why he's there. You know, why he's a champ. So I think it's gonna be a tough fight, but Islam gonna win for sure.
Moving on, Josh Thompson reflected on Jack Della Maddalena's performance against Bilal Muhammad, saying Jack proved a lot in that fight, especially with the way he handled the fight. However, when it comes to the matchup with Islam Makhachev, Thompson is picking Islam to win. He pointed to JDM's mindset as the deciding factor, suggesting that Jack himself may already be envisioning a scenario where Islam submits him, which in Thompson's view gives Islam the mental edge.
You know, taking somebody who is known for their conditioning, their cardio, and making them go backwards and making them look tired is pretty damn impressive. And so, you know, that fight has me like second guessing how well Islam's going to do. Now, I think Islam's going to win, but and the reason why I say that is because, look, not only am I just biased because he's an AKA guy, but I want you guys to think about this. JDM said it himself. People think that he's going to take me down and submit me. And if you're saying that, then whether you're saying it just in like, hey, that's what people think, you've thought it yourself. And so he's going to be extremely focused on stopping, you know, Islam's takedowns.
Josh predicts that Islam Makhachev will land takedowns with ease, especially from the clinch. He believes Islam will pressure Jack Della Maddalena against the fence and look to execute foot sweeps to bring the fight to the ground.
They're going to be a little bit more effortless. They're going to be a little bit more, you know, in the clinch inside a phone booth. They're going to be pressed against the fence. They're going to be foot sweeps. They're going to be clinched. You know, there might be a couple single leg like lifts and dumps and things like that, but they're not going to be like, let's drop down on double legs and try and shoot those. That's where we're at.
While Thompson is leaning toward Islam to win, he admitted he expected the odds to be a bit closer, given Jack's striking threat and recent performances.
And I guess for me though too, it's kind of the unknown. I was expecting him actually to be the odds to be a little bit closer. As much as I'm leaning towards Islam, I was expecting the odds to be a little bit closer, only based on the fact that the 15-pound jump is a lot. It's not like jumping from 25 to 35, 35 to 45, and 45 to 55. You're jumping the full 15. So how well does Islam handle the weight? You know, when you're talking world-class fighters like a JDM and anybody else in that top 2 or 3 in the 175-pound or the 170-pound division. So there's a lot of questions to be answered there for me as well. Look, at 155 with Islam and Habib, I had all the answers.
Adding to the conversation, Bedtime MMA offered a bold take, stating that in his view, there isn't anyone on the current UFC roster capable of beating Jack Della Maddalena. He highlighted Jack's elite-level striking and pointed out that the only fighters who might give him problems are those who can seamlessly blend grappling with striking.
I might have to bring in Steve Irwin. I might have to bring in Thanos. Like, maybe Thanos might be able to beat JDM. Maybe he stuffs a couple of, takedowns and land some good shot. Dude, who am I actually beating to beat JDM? I feel like obviously you could be like, dude, GSP destroys JDM. I don't think he does. I think GSP always wore damage very, very badly. And he had a good jab. He had good boxing, good defense, good footwork, great wrestling, great jiu-jitsu. GSP is, in my opinion, like straight up one of the two most well-rounded fighters in UFC history. GSP is so good. And I have no doubt he would have an extremely competitive fight with JDM. I'm talking straight up nightmare matchup.
With experts split, legends weighing in, and questions swirling around legacy, style clashes, and marketability, this bout represents a battle for status, respect, and the future trajectory of two elite careers. Whether it ends in a dominant statement from the pound-for-pound king or a seismic upset that reshapes the division, fans are in for a showdown that could define an era. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to press the bell icon so you never miss a beat. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below, and we will see you in the next video with more exciting updates.